What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we are going to be continuing this mock draft with round 2 of 3. As you guys know, I was not able to record yesterday. If you guys want to read up on that, feel free to do so, but I appreciate your guys' support through everything that's been going on. So, again, thank you for that. You guys are awesome. We just breached 7K, so we're on the road to 7,500 and then up to 10K. Would love for you guys to make that dream a possibility. Yeah, the hair's a mess, but you know what? We're all a mess a little bit inside. RIP. So let's jump into the mock draft. Pick number 32. So PFF updated their board. You guys asked me to redo the mock draft and just have it so you guys can see the updated board. So I did that for y'all. But at pick number 32, there's been a lot that's been going on. This has traded hands multiple times, and this was traded to the Buccaneers by virtue of the Steelers, who wanted to move up for Jordan Addison to pair him up with Kenny Pickett. So that's been great. It's awesome. Let's continue on, though. At this spot, there's no QB that's available. Obviously, I wouldn't have traded out of the first round if I was looking for a QB in the first place. And offensive line-wise, that's interesting that they're suggesting that. I do agree that tight end is a good option for the team, but I see 4 tight ends that are elite level potential, and that just depends on the system that they are in. So I'm not going to go that way. I think that's something you could address later on. And I honestly like the idea of going Elijah because he could be sub 6 foot. He's 280 pounds. He's just somebody who adds a lot of emphasis to speed. And, that's a really good building piece, especially if he ends up working out. Think of it more of like a Milton Williams type where, lower body weight. I love Milton Williams coming out. I knew that it was a stretch for him to be a successful starter, but the ship's not written out on him yet. So I definitely think that he has some potential, and I think Elijah is that next guy who's going to be of a similar mold. Pick number 33. By the way, I watched Deontay Banks literally like 30 seconds before recording this. He's okay. I think he's like a third round dude. So we'll deal with that when the time comes. Definitely not anytime soon. I think since DeMeco Ryans has pretty much went offense, he's going to want to go a defensive pick. And Elijah would have been perfect. He would have been. That would have been awesome. But looking at the guys who are available, Keanu Benton is somebody who's a really good pass rusher. I don't think that he's worth this pick. So I personally I'd want to go free agency for defensive interior, given the guys who are still available. So other positions of need, I think linebacker is perfect at the spot. I think Drew Sanders would be such an awesome Fred Warner option. Really good in coverage as well. Kind of disgusting that PFF put him down this far since he is our number 1 linebacker. I will scroll so you guys get to see a little bit more of my board as well. A lot has changed, including a player who I ended up taking a lot earlier in this draft. But, I told you guys I haven't fully updated him yet. I did. He's definitely not as good as he was last year. I especially watched the Ohio State game because I know he got cooked. And, I tried to stand up for him a little bit. He got pretty cooked. So I had to drop him, but he's still an athletic freak, still great size, and he's honestly built really well for the NFC East. Pick number 34 for the Cardinals. We've had 2, I think we had 2 picks so far. Yeah, we have Brian Breezy as well as Joey Porter. I think now is a good time to look at offense. And again, you see Gannon coming from a system with offensive line. And looking at guys like John Michael Schmitz, that's a perfect guy to add into that mix. Someone who had a very, very good Senior Bowl. I love seeing that we could potentially get 3 legitimate starters here with these first 3 picks. Again, you see Kelsey being a huge factor in that Eagles offensive line. Now he's going to have his own version of him here in Arizona. Pick number 35 for the Colts. Just want to check because I think we went AR in the first and we traded back to get a 2nd round pick, which is awesome. I got AR because I think he is going to be moldable in the way Jalen Hurts was. Maybe not a good year 1, but definitely potentially a good year 2, year 3, etc. Pick number 35, though. I still want to look at offensive line. I think guard is a huge position to address, but I also know I could probably do that later. I'm seeing if there's any absolute robberies here. Alex Forsyth is a really good player. Also, fun fact, connected with him on LinkedIn. You guys can do that too. It's entertaining. People don't really respond on LinkedIn, but it's still very fun nonetheless. I love the idea of Luke Whippler on the squad. I want to see when our next pick is. It is for a while, and I don't trust that we are going to be able to grab a high quality starter there. I think that's honestly the best thing we can do is to go after someone like Luke Whippler here and just bring on a little bit of stability and continue building a strong offensive line for AR to be able to at least be comfortable getting used to the NFL. Pick 36, and you guys put a lot of backlash on this because the draft, I forgot, is in Kansas City. Of course, I don't know if that's necessarily going to stop them from doing everything, but I don't know if they're going to keep Juju Smith-Schuster. I do not. And I'm looking at someone like Michael Wilson as a potential big riser, especially if he runs well at the combine. He's been somebody who's been tracking very, very well. He's the reason I have Christian Gonzalez at 36. You guys see it right below my face. Is the reason I have him there is because I was like, dude, this Stanford wide receiver is eating him up for lunch. And to be honest, it's true. He's a really, really good player. So I'm debating. I haven't watched him yet officially. Obviously, I watched him versus Christian Gonzalez plenty of times, and yeah, the story's written out on that one. But definitely don't think Michael Wilson's out of the equation to replace Juju. I would just say you do have other options down the board that could be a little bit better value. Looking at the defensive linemen on the board, there are a good amount of edge rushers who are still here. I know Spag is going to want that dude who's 260 plus. I could see someone like Adetomiwa Adebaware being someone who could kick inside. He's 280 pounds, but he also has freakish length and could potentially end up being an edge rusher. But I love his presence as a potential 3-tech. But again, I like that flexibility. He has enough size where you can add on an extra 10 pounds to put him inside, or you can shave off 10 pounds and put him on the outside. I think he should test very well. Obviously, the combine is going to be a big determinant on that, but he balled out at the Senior Bowl. I have to update him myself. My big note for him was that he was being heavily underutilized there at Northwestern, so I couldn't get a good grasp on him because I didn't think he was playing the position and playing the role that he was supposed to, because he looked really bad in it. But you've seen these one-on-ones at the Senior Bowl that players like Adetomiwa at 280 plus can actually dominate, and it shows that his single talent, or maybe he developed in the offseason, is good enough to be able to start in the NFL. And I think it's definitely a Spag guy and definitely somebody where I would at least take a shot on. Okay, with the Rams pick at number 37, O-line to me still is one of the prime positions to target. You still have guys like Matt Bergeron on the board. Blake Freeland definitely has fallen for a lot of people. For myself, I'm pretty sure I've always been fairly lower on Blake Freeland. I used to take him earlier because offensive line is very thin in this class. I would not count out Cody Mauch as someone who you could have as a guard potential transition to tackle. But Matt Bergeron, again, you look at the drop-off, even in PFF's board. I have Freeland and Bergeron up high. I have Mauch a little bit lower because of the fact he's a guard, transitioning to guard. But there's really, Matt Bergeron's the only guy I could see starting. And I think he'd be a good fit here. I do. You could go after a high-end edge rusher as well, but I've been doing that for a long time. And at the end of the day, you need offensive line protection. That's the biggest drop-off, in my opinion, is Andrew Whitworth to whatever the hell was going on at left tackle last year. Matt Bergeron could be that guy who resets that trend. Pick number 38. So we did go after Devon Witherspoon in round 1. Other positions you could address, linebacker. I love the idea of Jack Campbell on this team. I think that would be a great fit. He's a gritty guy. And obviously he looks really good with his primary jersey colors black. But, silver and black would definitely look good on him. Other positions, you could have somebody be trained up by Max Crosby. I would wait probably for another round. If you want to get Isaiah Foskey and have him as a depth piece, I think that'd be a better move. Other positions, I do think offensive line, not an awful choice at all. I would like a Lusagoon to this team for sure. But, to be honest, I don't think you can get much better than Jack Campbell here. This is a very thin linebacker class. You got guys like Ivan Pace who's pushing in, but that guy's sub 6 foot. This guy's 6'5", 247 pounds, and he's going to be able to move at about a 4.5 to 4.6 speed. I love what you can get out of Jack Campbell. Definitely one of those guys who is not getting enough hype. I have him over a guy who I took at number 31 in this draft. Pick number 39 for the Falcons. So, in the first, we took Tyree Wilson. which is pretty standard fare. Now there's a couple other routes we can go. I don't think running back is out of the question. I know y'all love your Tyler Algier, but this NFL is built on multiple running back cores, and I think a true RB1 would not be bad. I also think that corner should at least be on the radar. I do. I think that's a good position to look at. But we have some really good wide receivers here. I would kind of hate to miss out on it. You have Drake London there, and I think looking at guys like Jaden Reed, Josh Downs, Tank Dell, those guys would all be great. I want someone who can play the boundary for me, though, and he's going to probably run into the 4-2s. I'm going to go Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee. He also played against Georgia as well as Bama. I'm pretty sure, Tennessee played against Georgia. But Jalen Hyatt is a great player, someone who I have a lot of respect for. Pick number 40 for the Bears, another team that can definitely use a wide receiver. And it would have been awesome to get Jalen Hyatt. Of course, they already have their older version of him. I think Michael Wilson would not be a bad option here. You do have Darnell Mooney. You already have Velus Jones. You already have Chase Claypool. But Michael Wilson could be making that big move up, and I might want to show a little bit of representation here. We moved back with the Bears and ended up getting, Myles Murphy. So definitely something that, you do have a formidable force there, and you got that extra first next year. You got this extra second round pick. I would be also inclined to look at offensive line, but I don't know why I clicked guard, because the tackle spot is the most, you need to address. But I don't see anybody. I don't. So for me, I am going to be going and pushing towards a different realm. And linebacker, you guys say it's very undervalued in the system. I'm going to go after wide receiver. I'm going to go Michael Wilson out of Stanford. Again, somebody who put one of the favorite corners in the draft on blast for me, and I got to show a little bit of love. What a little bit of love is due. We do have trades in this, but the value has just been really good for a lot of players. This might be one of the first where I see a trade happen, though. We ended up going after Lucas Van Ness in the first. I do think a DB for depth is not bad, but personally, it just really depends on if Lattimore is going to be there. I'm pretty sure he will be. I think tight end is an underrated need, especially with some really good ones on the board. I think getting weapons is never a bad thing. But Josh Downs is here. He's a very, very good target. I like him a lot. Putting him where Jarvis Landry was supposed to be. I've been doing that the past couple drafts. I think it's the right thing to do. Pick number 42, another team that would have been a great fit for Josh Downs, is the Tennessee Titans. And a lot of really good tight ends on the board, but they're going to continue to fall because I'm looking at guys like Tank Dell, and I'm saying you can have pretty much your A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith here with, why am I tripping up on people's names today? Treylon Burks as well as Tank Dell. I think that's pretty smart. I think that is, and I want to show a little bit of love to Tank Dell because he is a very solid wide receiver. Not that high on my board, but definitely somebody who is a very smooth route runner, so long as you can handle potential injuries in the future, which I don't think there will be many. Pick number 43 for the Browns. Again, we're seeing some really good players fall here, and I think this is a team that, you're going to try to capitalize on your positioning in the draft. Mozzie Smith definitely is moving a little bit down my board. I think that you guys can push down the board. You guys need more picks. I don't see, B.J. Ojulari needs to get the hell out of here, and he's literally a top 10 player for me. Just edge rushers, not a primary need of a lot of teams. And I'm looking at teams even like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where we already traded back and added in a future draft pick in the future second, that be. So I think moving up with the team for an edge rusher is a very smart thing to do. I can see the Packers trying to make this move, but I don't see BJ as a bigger, more raw run stuffer. That's just not what I see him as. I could see a team like Seattle, though. Seattle could definitely use someone like B.J. Ojulari. We've been aggressive with Seattle, and I think we should continue to do so. So we are going to be trading this pick, 43 to 51, 8 spots. It is going to require a future third-round pick. So that is why we picked it up from the Giants. So ultimately, all of our moves have only netted us a negative third-round pick, and we are able to get an absolute freak here in B.J. Ojulari, who I have in my top 10. Pick number 44 for the Jets. So he went offensive tackle in round 1. I think that this is a good spot for a safety replacement on LaMarcus Joyner. I am going to be going after Sidney Brown. I think that his upside is more than Antonio Johnson. I like Antonio Johnson, but Sidney Brown, just there's something about him. He looks really, really awesome. So definitely excited because I love Illinois safeties, and just got to be a little bit of a homer right there. Pick number 45. Patriots like to move back, and there's a lot of tight ends here. I'm going to try to move up with a team who will try to select their own tight end, and that's going to be the Dolphins. So Tom Brady. Oh, very funny. In division trades happen now all the time. We do see that. It might. Oh, you guys have like nothing. I mean, speaking of a third round pick, you guys have nothing in terms of draft capital. So sorry, Dolphins fans, you're kind of screwed on that one. Other teams that might be looking at a tight end, you could see the Jaguars in search of one if they do not sign Evan Engram. And if that's the case, Luke Musgrave would be a great option. Teams that could be looking at somebody like Antonio Johnson, though, like I would definitely try to find a team that's looking for that slot corner slash safety slash box linebacker. And I can see the Bears utilizing Antonio Johnson well, but man, this is slim pickings. This is very slim pickings. Shoot. I mean, the Steelers could definitely make a move for Antonio Johnson. We've already moved up once, though. I don't know if anybody's going to bite. I don't. There's just not enough value there and not enough teams within striking range. And for me, I look at Felix Anudike-Uzomah. It's another guy that not many people know, but somebody who's a really, really good player. He's another guy who, if I'm not mistaken, is in that top 10 range now. Not because I moved him up, but because I moved other people down. But really good player. Really good player. Definitely deserving of a selection right here. Pick number 46 for the Packers. We go after a tight end if we can, and I think that's the best move for the team. Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid, Luke Musgrave. I'm going to go with Dalton Kincaid this time. You can always change it up if you like. Pick number 47. I do not think a tight end is out of the question here. Like someone Luke Musgrave, Sam Laporta, or Darnell Washington would be awesome. We addressed corner in round 1, and I still want to get some extra blocking in there. Darnell Washington would be a really cool option to see how he could work in the NFL. Pick number 48 for the Steelers. We've already gone after a DB, if I'm not mistaken. We have not, actually. I totally forgot about that. We went after 2 offensive positions in round 1 with Broderick Jones and Jordan Addison. Now the right thing to do is go after a corner. I still have Jalen Jones as a top 3 corner in the class, and he is built exactly for what the Steelers are trying to run. So I think that would be perfect for them. Someone who has a lot of strength. He's probably going to run 4.5. That's my only issue with him. But so long as he's able to command his area of the field, not many people have the intellect and the field awareness that Jalen Jones has. Pick number 49 for the Colts. So already addressed quarterback, already addressed offensive line. I think we're chilling here. It's a good spot to be. Looking at other positions, I know that corner is potentially something that you guys will be looking at. It's kind of unfortunate to say, but your corners are not super duper young, and you don't even have Rock Ya-Sin. So like Stephon Gilmore can last, but I want someone who could get trained up. I love Garrett Williams. Not mistaken. I don't know if Syracuse played anywhere near Indianapolis, but they might have played against Notre Dame. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Garrett Williams is an awesome player coming off an ACL tear. He was a top 15 player for me before he did so. Pick number 50 for the Buccaneers. We already know I'm going to be going a tight end here. Luke Musgrave is awesome. Sam Laporta is great. I'm going to go after the high upside pick here in Luke Musgrave. Pick number 51. So the Browns have moved back, and we're going to get somebody who I have a bit falling. That's Mozzie Smith. He did have some run-ins with the law, as well as during the championship game where they lost. Not the championship game. Excuse me. I think they played in the Sugar Bowl. Doesn't matter. Again, in the playoff. He ended up getting moved a lot. He did not hold his ground for someone who's 345 pounds. So that's not good. Not good. I would say there are red flags there, but this is a team where I would potentially negate those red flags. You have Perion Winfrey now and Mozzie Smith for the long run. That's a potential nasty duo that I would totally take a shot on. Pick number 52, another team that could have used Mozzie Smith. I'm going to actually go Keanu Benton here. I'm going to check. Oh, we already went Zay Flowers. I know that for a fact. I've redone this mock draft like 3 times because computers restart. You got to love it. But pick number 53, we are going to go Sam Laporta. It is actually the ideal pick for a Shanahan-style offense, someone who can block really well. His hands are apparently questionable. I would just say his quarterback was questionable. He was my tight end 1 starting out the year. I still think he's well deserving of a second-round pick. Pick number 54 for the Bears. We went Michael Wilson, and we've also gone Myles Murphy. Now is another time to go after maybe a defensive interior position. Right, we took them all. Gotta love that one. So other positions of note, they are not going to re-sign Montgomery. That is the pretty strong inclination of the community. I'm going to go after Jahmyr Gibbs here. I think getting a super weapon and like having that speed of Justin Fields and Jahmyr Gibbs could really truly be groundbreaking. So I'm excited to see what would happen there. Pick number 55. This is also a team that could be in the runnings for a running back. And looking at the guys who could potentially go in and replace DeAndre Swift, I think Devon Achane is awesome. Linebacker, definitely I would look at. For you guys who do not know already, we have gone Will Anderson Jr., so pretty badass, as well as Christian Gonzalez. I think Devon Achane could be a nice addition to the offense. Jamal Williams, probably going to be brought back on a short-term contract, but his contract's up anyway. And then DeAndre Swift always injured, so getting somebody of a 4.24 tested speed, not bad at all. Pick number 56. So we went after a corner in round 1. In this round, I think Olusegun proved to be able to bounce back. He had some issues at the Senior Bowl, but I do believe that he's able to get over those. And he has that center versatility, very athletic, very good as a pulling center / guard. I would love to see him be able to get out in front of Travis Etienne and just clear the way. Pick number 57 for New York. We traded up for Quentin Johnston. Now I think it's a good time to look at a defensive back. You look at Cam Smith here, who has fallen below the ranks of Eli Ricks, Deontay Banks, as well as Clark Phillips. But I do think he ends up going higher than what we think. But I'm actually going to go Deontay Banks here. He should test out in the 4.3s. I have full confidence that he's able to maintain positioning. So I like that right there. Antonio Johnson's still on the board, but I just don't know if he's going to test well. He was kind of just a boring eval for me, more than even his teammate, Jalen Jones. Pick number 58, though, for the Cowboys. We went a DB in Tyreek Stevenson in round 1. I want to look at someone like Cody Mauch as a potential guard for us in the long run. Very good as a pulling offensive lineman, very mean as well. He has some issues, but that's why he's here at 58 and not being taken in the first round. Pick number 59 for the Bills. Went after a right tackle in DeJuan Jones, and somehow, some way, I promise I didn't make it this way, Antonio Johnson's here, usually my first round pick for the Bills. Pick number 60, there we go, for the Bengals. So we went after a tight end in round 1. Now, I mean, Steve Avila is not an awful way to go. Blake Freeland, definitely somebody who I would at least consider here. And looking at a team like the Chiefs that I would probably take Blake Freeland for anyway, I would love to see what happens. I hate when I accidentally click the show more button, but Blake Freeland's going to be a good option. I think that he's starting to get a bit underrated. He just had a really shitty rep at right tackle, and he's never played right tackle. He's just kind of a consistent dude, and I mean, maybe because of Brady Christensen not being a hyper elite player, which I think he's perfectly fine. He's getting pushed down. I don't know. And I've usually been the guy who's lower on Blake Freeland than most people. So it's kind of weird being in this situation. But Panthers moved up to 1, ended up getting their guy in CJ Stroud. I think now is a perfect time to address this edge rushing position with someone who I think should be potentially a first round pick in Nolan Smith. Players fall. It's not my choice. I like taking Nolan Smith in the first. You guys can see, where do I have Nolan Smith on my board? I have no idea where Nolan Smith is. RIP. But Nolan Smith is somewhere in here. He's an absolute monster. I love Nolan Smith. I just cannot, for some reason, find him with my eyes. And that is A-okay. Pick number 62, though, for the Eagles. We have moved up and selected Jalen Carter. I think now is the perfect time to address a defensive back. Eli Ricks is absolutely perfect for what is to come from this defense. I am excited to see that. Pick number 63 and ending off the second round. Chiefs moved back and got Didamua Adebaware. Now, I think the right thing to do is to look at that defensive interior and say like, oh, actually, we already got that technically. We could go for a pure edge rusher here with Andre Carter, who does fit the SPAG system. We could just go big guys and go Carl Brooks. There's a couple routes we can go. Offensive tackle as well. You could try. Not good. Wide receiver, though. I mean, you could look at a bigger wide receiver. And like Parker Washington's getting a lot of hype. Wouldn't be too shabby on this squad. Kayshon Boutte is awesome. I just like he had a little bit of a nefarious party, to put it, very vaguely. Definitely some character concerns there, but I think talent-wise, he's unbelievable. We'll show him a little bit of love, and we'll give him to the Chiefs. I know it's not a team that really needs the wide receiver help, but without Juju, I would love just to see speed, and, it's a way to not be able to re-sign McCole Hardman. I don't know. I just like Kayshon Boutte, and I hope that he's able to get over those character concerns. So that is the end of the second round. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the far side. Peace.